Hi there, John here at Microaces. Welcome to Microaces Workshop once again. I can't believe it's been almost a month since I did a news update, but here we are. Managed to find the beard trimmer, but still not allowed to go to the hairdressers. So I'm still growing this mullet on top. But I thought I would make another video to give you some more information on what's happening. Firstly, the most important thing for a lot of you out there who are customers of ours and are still waiting electronics. Today we received a batch of receivers from the manufacturer. These little creatures here that you all know and love, or love to hate. The great news is, as I said, we've got a batch here. The manufacturers sent along the FrSky D8 compatible units and the Futaba ones. We are still waiting for the Spectrum DSM to DSM-X compatible units. Unfortunately, they decided to make those last on the production line. I inquired today after I'd received the first batch of receivers when they would be sending those. I was promised that they would send at least some of them, if not all of them, next week. So it's taking about a week to get to us. So not too long now, which is fantastic. I have been packing and shipping today. I think I've got the vast majority of the FrSky units out to people who are waiting for them. Tomorrow I will be packing and shipping all the Futaba ones. So that's great news as well. So people will be able to get to the air very shortly. And talking about getting into the air, as you know, in my last news update, we had information about the new Bristol that we've done, the revision of the Bristol F.2b kit, and I actually managed to get some airtime with it as well, which is fantastic. Before I show you, I will show you the video of it flying if you haven't seen it already. But before I go into that, just to say we are near completion with the assembly guide. Simon is in tomorrow. We're going to go through a few things. We're going to work over the weekend at it and work next week to get it complete. I will hopefully also be manufacturing the kit next week, and also be converting all of our existing Bristol F.2b kits to the new format with the wing fillets and the options of having the bomb racks and all that good stuff. So anyway, let's just have a look at it flying. If I can operate this thing, we don't want that, do we? We want, yeah. There we go. So this was just a very quick evening flight. As you can see, it takes off really nicely. Really sedate flyer, and yeah, very easy to control. A lot of it's hands off, and this is probably flying at about 2/3 throttle, I would imagine, and just very elegant, very slow flyer, but quite manoeuvrable as well. So the rudder is quite effective. And the great thing is, certainly with these small models, is you can fly them at eye level, so you can really get a good look at them as they come past. The camera works a little bit shaky because I just threw my iPhone at my daughter, who happened to be on her evening run at the time, so wasn't best pleased to be filming Dad's planes. But anyway, she managed to keep it in frame most of the time, in shot. So that's good. As you can see here, it turns pretty well. You can keep altitude with it in the turn. It's very stable. Even with obviously it's just a 3-channel control. There's no ailerons involved here, but it flies very nicely. And with the larger motor in and a decent battery, this wasn't a decent battery I had. You can pull some pretty good manoeuvres as well. You can see a nice tight turn there. It's a great indoor flyer as well because of its manoeuvrability. Well, there we go. Done. You saw it all. Let's get rid of that then. So yes, the Bristol. Hopefully we will start shipping towards the end of next week, if not just the week after, once we've got the assembly guide finalised. The other thing I wanted to show you, have a bit of a natter about, some of you who have received kits may have noticed that the 2mm foam that we use, which was originally Depron and Depron Aero foam, has now been replaced. Unfortunately, Depron is no more. Certainly for the modelling fraternity in 2. I think they still make for the underfloor insulation brigade, but not for us modellers anymore. So we've had to change. We've had to source a new material. Funnily enough, we actually sourced it from. Well, it's not funny really. We sourced from Graupner their vector board, which is pretty good stuff. And of course, Graupner are no more anymore now, but we managed to get quite a large batch out of them, and in doing so, we also got the details of the manufacturer that manufactured it for them. So we don't have any sourcing problems for it anymore. But this is the stuff, as you can see. It's just an offcut from the laser. There's some sort of rippling effect here. I mean, it is nice and smooth, but there seem to be some sort of inconsistencies in the texture within it. But that's fine. It doesn't seem to make any difference when you're laser cutting, when you're using it. The material itself, the 2mm vector board, is actually about 75–80% of the weight of Depron, which is great, which makes things lighter. This stuff, if you don't know, if you haven't built a Microaces kit or haven't built one for a while, this stuff's used for the internal structure of the kit itself, and used for wing ribs and that sort of stuff. This vector board is actually less brittle than the previous Depron that we've used. It's much more sort of flexible, which is great for an internal structure, especially for small stuff. Obviously, with larger stuff, this is going to be a little bit too flexible. But for the 1/24th scale aircraft that we do, this actually proves to be quite ideal. It's obviously, it glues well. It's still you still use Yoo-hoo pour on it, works exactly the same. It doesn't melt if you put lighter fluid on it, which is the stuff that melts the Yoo-hoo if you need to take stuff apart, which is great too. Sanding, when you sand it, because it's slightly more rubbery, it's a little more difficult to sand, but it will sand. You've just got to be a little more persistent with it to get the shape that you want. So I'm finding that it's because it's much more flexible. It's an easier material to work with without busting or breaking it. So that's what we're using from here on in. Ooh, changing the lighting with the big white sheet. So that's good stuff. To sort of demonstrate that, many of you will know, I think it was probably a couple of years ago now, I looked at sort of some future projects, maybe stuff that sort of really pushed the boundaries for us, took me out of my comfort zone, so to speak. and I started working on, this is actually made from 2mm Depron, started working on a 1/24 scale Felixstowe First World War flying boat, a biplane, massive thing. As you can see, I mean, this is a 1/24 scale. If let's just grab. Back again. So if I grab, there we go. There's the Sopwith Camel, and it's quite difficult to do it on camera, but you get the idea of what sort of difference in size we're looking at. Obviously, this was a coastal bomber. Relatively long range, and on this particular model, if we took it to the next stage, which would be to obviously build up the wings and the twin motors and that sort of thing, the wingspan would be about 1.2 meters. So it's a big thing when you're talking Microaces. But didn't take it any further because of the time it would take to make it, and obviously being a business, you've got to think of the kind of return that you would get. I mean, it would make a great flagship model, and certainly draw attention, that's for sure. So you've got to factor that in. But the time that it would take just to sit down and get everything designed, get the assembly guide put together, which would be a massive task. It's been put on the back burner. Often think about it. This is lying around just to keep me enthusiastic and keep my mind on moving forward. Yeah. Now, I only showed you that because that's kind of inspiration, but probably pushed me a little bit too far. With regards to the whole design process, it would take up there would be lots of trial and error basically, and with time being of the essence, the less error the better. So what I thought I'd do fairly recently, especially with the evolution of the Scrappy trainer, was that I thought I would introduce myself, because I've never designed a twin engine aircraft before, so I thought it would be a good idea if, rather than trying to design probably the zenith of scale model kits, I would try something just a little below that, to try and increase the possibility of success and reduce the likelihood of failure. And to that end, and using the new 2mm Depron, the 2mm vector board, I should say, I started to put together an idea for Scrappy's big brother. And as you probably guessed from what I'm talking about, it's a twin engine aircraft, and certainly it's nowhere near finished at the moment. It's an idea, but it's an idea that's making its way off the drawing board, if you like. And so I'll show you one of the first prototypes that I made up. So this is it here. So you can see a solid tail. I've actually used a doubled 1mm on the tail. We'll see whether that sustains. But as you can see, it's a fairly traditional looking twin-engined aircraft. It's actually, the inspiration for it has come from the an aircraft called the Percival Petrel. Not the fuel, the bird, the petrel, but it's a very elegant 1930s passenger aircraft that was used in a military role and also a civilian role. And although this isn't an absolute scale likeness of it. It's a lovely format that I thought would work well with the equipment that we use and the materials that we use as well. And as you can see, it's you've got these two engines here hanging off the lower portion of the wing. The wing is it's a low wing aircraft, but there will be plenty of wing area to it. And there's plenty of room too, so we've got plenty of room for receivers and servos and battery and the like. Hopefully it'll be light enough. This whole setup here, as it stands, is around about 13 grams. So obviously it's going to be covered with 1mm foam, and which will be obviously. Excuse the dog's having a slurp. If you can hear weird noises in the background. I'll introduce you to him because actually he's the inspiration for the name for this aircraft, and hopefully we'll be, obviously I'll be pushing this forward. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I thought it would be of interest for you to see it. I'm actually, because it's made by the company Percival, and my dog's name is Percy, I thought I would call it the Percy. It's the big brother of Scrappy. But we'll see whether that sticks, or maybe you can come up with some better suggestions. So as you can see, it's going to use, hopefully the idea is that it'll use 2 of our cordless motor gearboxes, and similar electronics as well, though I have had our manufacturers send me through a receiver that's got twin ESCs on for cordless motors, so that'll be interesting to see as well. And I'll bring you through on the progression of this as we move forward. The engines, these will all be faired in. The wheels themselves, this will all be nicely faired in, and it'll look quite elegant, I think. So I'll keep you up to date with the progress on that. But I've just swapped this over because that was the first airframe that I developed. Here, this shows you, obviously the wings aren't on, but this shows you more of the sort of the shape of the aircraft at the front and how that all goes together. You can see there've been a few little changes to how the wheels sit and how all of the framework there is put together. Also, we've got a little bit of reinforcement on the framework here to stop the side waggle. But this is made of the new 2mm foam, and it is proving to be very lightweight. It's flexible, but obviously once we get the 1mm covering on, that will toughen things up. That will work as the hatch. That'll be going there when you use magnets or the like to hold that in place. So it's going to be an interesting aircraft. I'm hoping, and I'll as I said, as a little project, we'll go together on this one, and I'll make more videos as time goes by on how this all progresses. But there we go. And the other thing, as I said, this material is great, but I mean it's brilliant. It's so tough, and you can bash it around, and it's absolutely fine. It's remarkable, this foam, absolutely incredible. Right, anyway, so let's put that to one side. A little bit of R&D revealed. Is there anything else? I think that's it. Not such a long video this time, but the takeaways are FrSky and Futaba receivers are here. We do have limited numbers. There were a lot to send out. The Futabas are going tomorrow. Today is Thursday that I'm recording this. Thursday the 4th of June 2020. The Spectrum units are due to be sent next week, so they usually take around about 7 to 10 days to get to us. As soon as they're in, they'll be out too. The new Bristol F.2b will be actually manufacturing next week with an effort to get the assembly guide finished and get it on its way too. And that's it. So thanks ever so much for watching. If you would like to purchase or look in more detail at the new Bristol, then there'll be a link somewhere, or just go on to the Microaces website. I think as you go onto the website, there's a picture of it. If you click on the picture, you go straight to the product, so you can find out more. The video is on the product page as well, so if you want to see that video again, you can go and have a look at it there. Obviously, you could just rewind here and have another look here, but there we go. Thank you very much. I will try and get another video done a little bit quicker this time, rather than leaving it 3-4 weeks, and we'll go from there. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. How utterly remiss of me. I promised to introduce you to Percy the Dog, after introducing you to Percy, in quotation marks, the twin-engined aircraft. Come on then. Here he is. There we go. Hey, Percy. Who's that? That's Percy. This is Percy with a Y, and of course the twin-engined aircraft. Percy is obviously with 2 E's. Who's that? Who's that? Come on then. Okay, you can go down there. There we go. There we go. That's Percy.